We'll go ahead and call to order the Tuesday, September 24th meeting of the St. Bernard Community Improvement Corporation to order. If we could please have a roll call. I put down present because I did it last time, sorry.
Okay.
If you want me to do it, I have no problem, but.
I can go ahead and do it.
All right.
Jonathan Stuchel,
Present.
Tom Rolfson,
Present.
Bob Culbertson. Here. Chris Schulmeyer's here. Joe Brickler, absent. Peggy Brickwig.
Here.
Ray Culbertson.
Here.
Jeff Edwards.
Here.
Allie Palmer. Here. Chris Sauer.
Here.
Amy Yosmali.
That's a fun name to say.
It is a fun name. That's a good one. Thank you for that. Meredith. Meredith Hughes.
Present.
Taylor Volt.
Here.
I was going to say Greenwood. Tim Wordman.
Present.
Okay, in the second page that you have attached to your agenda, the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as printed, or are there any corrections? Not that you've had a lot of time to review it.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Do I say that or do you say that?
So we have a
Motion by Amy.
Yes,
Amy.
Amy
Seconded
Osmond.
by me, Chris Schildmeyer. All those in favor?
Okay, as far as treasurer's report,
Yep, the First State bank balance hasn't changed. It's still at $3,362.06. Fifth Third bank account as of today was $247,497.60. That concludes my report.
all right, great, thank you. As far as action items, update from the relocation specialist. So Kathleen was not able to be here this evening because she actually did have a meeting with Hamilton County. But believe it or not, there's actually been some serious progress in the last couple weeks. She has been working with the representative from Cushman Wakefield, but yet at the same time, also management from Ace Cash Express. So they are actively looking for viable options, and they actually did go out and look at physical locations. So there is, again, action. So I feel a whole lot better right now, and I think everyone's working together to try to come up with a solution that would satisfy both parties. So at this point, hopefully within the next couple weeks, we'll have some positive news. But again, this is more progress just in a 2-week period than we've had in a year. So I feel pretty good. So, but again, I totally understand that Kathleen had other obligations, and she really wouldn't have told you a whole lot different. But again, we are getting something done. I was going to call on Tim. I'm probably putting you on the spot a little bit, but the next phase of our project, of course, with respect to demolition, and you had given me just a little bit of information about kind of a process once we're okayed to move forward with that, as to what you had done some research on.
Sure. So a couple things. One, I did get some draft RFPs from some other entities that have done similar demolition projects that we could use as a template if that was a direction that we wanted to go. Alternatively, I did speak to the village manager for Amberley Village, the city manager for the city of Fairfield. I think that was it. But both of those entities are using a contractor by the name of Prodigy Group. And the benefit of this Prodigy Group is that they base all of their work off of state contracts. So in essence, all of their work and subs have already been pre-approved, so to speak, through the state bid process. So there's no second RFP necessary to go through. So you can actually contract with them, know that you're getting state bid qualifying prices, and they should be able to mobilize pretty quickly. They were saying that they thought they could get the first phase of the demolition started before the end of the year, which I think is what people are looking for. Now, I had that meeting with them, and I've not heard back from them, and I sent a follow-up email, and I've not gotten that. So I'll have to follow up with that. But to me, and again, I'm new here, so I don't want to be driving the ship, but it sounds to me like that might be a good alternative to having to go through a formal RFP process, develop the RFP, send out the RFP, review all the responses and all that, if we are going to end up relatively in the same spot because we've already got competitively bid prices on the work that's being done.
I think that is the question I have, whether or not we would consider the bid we have competitive. I believe the bid that we have is just a singular bid that allowed us to price out the work, but I don't know that this has ever been put out publicly, which I thought was a requirement of the funding source that we have. So maybe you have more clarity on that than I do.
Yeah, so when I told them that the funding source was from Hamilton County and from the we got that second grant, I think, from the Ohio Brownfield. They have worked under those programs previously, at least that's what they represented to me. So I believe that their process is compliant with whatever needs to be done for that grant process. But I can certainly double check with that.
And I'm assuming that if we did go with them, sorry, did I interrupt you? I'm assuming that if we did go with them, that would mean that we would also have, would that bring on anyone managing the process itself if we went through them? Because they would be outsourcing and going to other demo contractors and that sort of thing.
So as I understand it, they basically are serving as kind of the GC, and they've got the subs, so to speak, that they've already done the competitive bidding and gotten off state contract, if I'm relaying that properly. It may be best if this is something that is of interest to the group that we ask them to come to a meeting and you all can ask them direct questions rather than have me try to filter what I gleaned from our meeting and bring it back if there are concerns about it.
Is the competitive bidding term, is that a term of art for the grant specifically? Or are we talking about that in connection? Because one of the grants was awarded to the village, which has to put the work out for bid. So is that the same type of competitive bidding that we're talking about? Or are
Yeah,
there
and
two
I
different
think
processes?
that's what I would like to clarify as well, because it's my understanding that if we're putting this out for competitive bid, that would require that we're even bidding the work out, even if it's a GC, that would have to be bid competitively at that level, and then whether they bid to subs at that point is on them, but the actual GC bidding process, I believe, needs to be a competitive one. So I think we should dig in on that just a little bit further, but I think having them as an option to send the RFP to, even if we put it out that way, as I think is required, would be good, and maybe that ends up being a great solution.
And that, happy to go that route. I guess the question is, from the development of the RFP standpoint, I've gotten templates, and I have the understanding that there were people that were interested in being involved in that process. Does that involvement, I guess, what level of involvement, drafting the RFP itself, or just vetting the responses, or what does that look like?
In the past, we've met as a committee even to discuss things like RFPs. We've done that when we've put properties out for bid and for purchase as well. So that would be my suggestion, is that we form a small subcommittee to get together with those RFP examples you've provided and kind of sort through and put together what we think the RFP looks like here. And I would obviously be happy to be involved in that, given that I was involved with the grant applications. And then I think, Chris, you said you'd be willing to participate as well, but that would be my suggestion.
And also, in the meantime, I would verify with Callie Adamson and Holly Chrisman from Hamilton County as far as what is stated on our actual grant agreement for clarification if this option that you've explored is a possibility, and they may have an instant answer. So that would actually save a lot of time anyhow, but we can forward that on, and I'm sure they'll advise us on that. Because otherwise, it basically just stipulates, as required by the ORC, that we are to go through the competitive bidding process. But this may already be defined in some manner with them, and they're probably overly familiar with it anyhow.
Yeah, and I apologize. I don't have because you did put me on the spot, I don't have my notes. But I am thinking that perhaps Amberley received the same sort of grant funding for the demolition, that it's the old golf course clubhouse that they are demoing it, and I think they may have gotten funding from the same sources that we did, which is when I put the question out, Scott Larmer got back to me and suggested I meet with this group, so.
All right, well, thank you, and sorry again for putting you on the spot, but I don't know if we've received anything else. I have not seen anything in print, but as far as whether or not there's been any update on what was awarded to us through the state as far as for, from the Ohio Demolition and Site Revitalization Program, I have not seen any numbers still.
Yeah, I know that they're working on that. The port is waiting for a formal response from the state. With it being election season, it kind of throws off timelines for everything at the state level. So as soon as they have a formal answer from the state, we will have a formal answer on the timeline and the exact funding amount associated. As far as I know, though, we got what we asked for, but we'll verify that as soon as we have that info.
Perfect. And again, just the grant that was awarded was for the, for 4901 to 4911 Vine. And again, just to clarify, that does not include Skyline or Bigby, so they're still going to be faithful businesses in our community. But again, hopefully we'll have an update on that, so we should be in good shape. Kind of concluding in with property maintenance and a couple other open items, I would like to ask for a motion to go into executive session as usual for the sale of property. At this point, would there be a motion to go into executive session for the sale of property? Can I get someone?
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Amy, seconded by Mr. Culbertson to go into executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
You have to take a person. Well, that seems silly. Okay. Okay, Jonathan Stuchel,
Yes.
Tom Rolfson.
Yes.
Bob Culbertson.
Yes.
I vote yes. Joe Brickler. Not here, sorry. Peggy,
Yes.
Ray Culbertson. Yes. Jeff Edwards. Yes. Alan Palmer. Yes. Chris Sauer.
Yes.
Amy Gosali. You Smiley.
But we might as well go ahead and finish a couple of the other items, because ultimately I just soon run through this and let us finish.
I think technically speaking,
We'll go into now, I guess, fine. All right, we're now in. All right, well, we're gonna excuse ourselves. We'll be back for
Make a motion, we come out of executive session.
Yes.
Yes.
Bob Culbertson is not here. Chris O'Meara was yes. Joe Brickler is not here. Peggy Brickwood.
Yes.
Ray Culbertson.
Yes.
Yes. Ally Palmer. Chris Sauer.
Yes.
All right, great, thank you. As far as just to kind of conclude, last action item, property maintenance. Our vice president has been taking on the attempt of painting the windows at the shopping center itself to help it not be such an unsightly building itself. So he's going to keep taking a stab at that. We may end up papering the windows, but we are going to deal with that and at least paint the exterior of the old Boost Mobile. But anyhow, head of maintenance is working on that right now.
Yeah, actually, I found paint that was supposed to cover the glass, and I went down there and sprayed it, and it didn't cover it. But according to Home Depot, it would cover glass. The other thing was looking more for an auction for the stuff, so I went to Penny Worley, and she came back. I sent her 39 pictures. Her response was, there really isn't enough value there to warrant an auction. The furnishings are too old, really have no demand. The safes are decent, but not enough to have an auction. You may want to try reaching out to a locksmith or safe dealer on the safe. Thanks for reaching out. So that was the second one that came back saying they weren't interested.
is that the furniture at the bank building?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, just to clarify, we took an inventory of, as far as filing cabinets, fire safe cabinets, and other various items. There are filing cabinets that are pretty much gonna be repurposed and some are used in City Hall. The Historical Society needs some. But we might be at a point where if we came up with a more thorough inventory after the repurposing, whether or not we would wanna even, two different options I thought potentially. One, have a community sale, let people come in and make offers on that, because the big thing is gonna be is that you're, especially if anyone has an interest in a desk, I mean, this stuff is crazy. So, you know, you buy, haul it and haul it out, you know, kind of a thing. So, I mean, otherwise, ultimately, I think some of the stuff's just gonna get demoed with the building. But at least we could have people go and look and see if they wanna make an offer. And then whether or not, there's at any one point, Tom came up with the idea of, you know, this, one of these, you know, reuse type, you know, operations with whether they would wanna come in and whether we just donate it, you know, if we get to that point. I mean, if it's gonna get demoed at that, why not? So, within the next month, I think we'll have a better idea as to whether or not we wanna move forward with making it available, you know, for sale or donation. I think we need to start making progress in vacating those buildings, if there's anything that needs to be taken. Other than that, we don't really have anything else under property maintenance. Does anyone on the board have anything else under open discussion or additional agenda items?
Jonathan, just for the minutes, is it an action item to invite Prodigy to the next meeting, or is there going to be a special meeting for that?
So, I think we need to clarify with Hamilton County first. And then I think then we open it up to them to ask if they could attend our next meeting. If indeed it's something that we get the 100% green light, that we can go with them. Because they're, all the people that we would be going out to seek bids from, they utilize as a sub anyhow. So we just need to clarify that. So I think we'd be in good shape. Before we do ask for a motion to adjourn, I would like to actually try to schedule a property review committee meeting with those members. Whether or not, you know, I sent out an email if you want to try to verify that, but whether you can give me some dates that work for you all, and then we can try to coordinate that, or whether or not we just set one and we go with it. So, I don't know what nights work best for everyone, whether, you know.
I'm open to whatever.
I'm not good on Mondays, obviously, so it's like my on-call night, but I could do, you know, Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
Wednesdays work better for me.
Tuesdays or Wednesdays are fine for me through October.
Do we want to try to, as soon as next Wednesday or the following Wednesday? I'm with the next, try to get this in the next 2 weeks.
Wednesday the 2nd?
Actually, that doesn't, wait a minute, sorry. Hold on a second, I apologize. I actually need to, that's not gonna work. Can we do the following Wednesday? Does Wednesday the 9th work for anyone?
What's the date?
Does for me.
Wednesday the 9th?
Yes.
Do you want to stay 6 o'clock? All right. So we'll have a property review committee meeting, Wednesday the 9th, 6 PM.
Where? Just came out.
Probably, let's do the downstairs, conference room.
What nights are mayor's court time?
Well, it's every other week, and I can't remember if that falls in the sync, but.
That's the only prevent us from having it here, right?
So we're,
kind of nice to have the big table set up downstairs.
Let's do it in council chambers, that's fine.
I think it's kind of nice to have like a conference table set up when we're having those.
We can do that downstairs then, the conference room. All right.
Just so we can have our materials.
That's why you're an advisor, okay. All right, so at this point, do we have, we show our next meeting, regularly scheduled meeting would be on the 22nd, October, which I didn't type that totally at the bottom. At this point, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.